that nearly drained her soul. After the breakup, she embarked on a journey of rebuilding herself. She studied self-love, attended therapy, practiced meditation, journaled, and even started a small blog to share her recovery. Everyone around her saw a woman who had overcome her pain, and Natalia believed it too. She felt confident, at peace, ready for a new connection until a man appeared. At first, Natalia maintained her balance, but just days into their initial conversations, she found herself checking her phone more often, analyzing every message, guessing what he truly thought. Each time he went silent, even a little longer, a wave of anxiety washed over her. She did not voice it or act rashly, but her mind spiraled. If he does not reply, what does that mean? Did I do something wrong? Will this end the same way as before? In a pivotal therapy session, her therapist quietly observed and said, "Your mind has let go, but your energy is still holding on." Natalia was stunned. She had never imagined she could be faking it to herself. But the truth was that all her efforts, the meditation, the sharing, the writing, stemmed from a drive not to be the same as before, to guarantee that next time would differ. Deep inside, her energy still sent the old message. I need something outside to make me feel safe, to ensure I will not be hurt again. Carl Jung wrote in the Red Book, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain. No awakening occurs without passing through pain." Natalia was not wrong to believe she had let go. She had simply not reached the end of the truth. Her deepest fear was still quietly directing her energy. Unprocessed energy acts like a script that repeats in various forms. You change partners, environments, and behaviors, yet you draw experiences with the same core: abandonment, misunderstanding, insufficiency. Jung called this the compulsion to repeat, the unconscious urge to relive an unresolved experience. In Psychology and Alchemy, he wrote, "The patient can only get well when he begins to see the contents of the unconscious and assimilate them into the total personality." Healing only happens when you dare to face the unconscious contents and integrate them into your whole being. The fact is, your vibration always speaks before your words. Others do not withdraw because you lack something specifically, but because they unconsciously sense an energy field demanding to be filled. They feel a burden you may not even recognize that you carry. Natalia did not utter a single plea, yet her energy field issued a clear request. Give me certainty. Ensure I will not be hurt again. When that energy emerges, love cannot flow freely. It becomes distorted, burdened with a responsibility to heal that no one but you can bear. If you find yourself wondering, why do I keep attracting the same type of person? Perhaps it is time to stop questioning the outside world and instead listen to yourself. Ask, what am I emitting that I dare not admit? Connection cannot grow on the foundation of energy bent by fear. The more you seek safety in others, the further you drift from your center. And the world, as Jung said, does not respond to what you want, but to what you are. Until you change that frequency, you will star in the same drama under a different title. The good news is that the moment you begin to recognize this, as Natalia did, you have already started to shift your vibration. And that alone, without anyone's confirmation, is enough to transform your entire story. Number 5. The difference between control and surrender. Imagine a moment you sigh, looking at your phone, and think you will not text anymore. You are fine. Minutes later, you secretly unlock your phone, waiting for a message or a sign that something to prove you are still cared for. On the surface, you tell yourself you are letting go, but inside your entire nervous system is on high alert. That is not peace. That is control, disguised as silence. At that intersection between mature behavior and lingering clinging energy begins a hard-to-swallow lesson that leads to deep transformation. Control is not strength. It is a survival reflex of an unhealed ego. Natalia recognized this not through words, but through experiencing it again in her body, in her energy, in how she faced uncertainty. That is when the door to the core distinction between control and surrender opened, not by knowledge, but by vibrational experience. We often equate control with power, action, and doing something to ensure nothing falls apart. In truth, control is a contraction of consciousness fear wrapped in a reasonable explanation, the ego trying to manage uncertainty through analysis, speculation, intervention, and at times, feigned indifference. Jung taught that the ego seeks to control what the soul has not yet integrated. That mask of logic makes control a wound. You do not act from strength. You act from fear, unwilling to admit it. Imagine beginning a new relationship, and the other person texts less for a day, so you feel compelled to do something. You send a message first. Do you stay silent to see if they notice why? Do you ask indirect questions to guess their state of mind? None of these actions are wrong in themselves, but consider the inner state driving these behaviors. If it stems from an inability to bear uncertainty, then you are not connecting, you are controlling. Jung spoke not only about behavior, but about the motive beneath it. He wrote that when an inner situation remains unconscious, it appears outside as fate. If you fail to recognize that you are governed by fear of losing control, you will continue to attract situations that force you to control yourself until you either exhaust yourself or awaken. You either live from your center or steer everything from the fear of abandonment. Recognizing this is the first step to letting go of awareness rather than from fatigue. Surrender is not standing still, waiting for a miracle. Surrender is the strongest act of a mind at rest in itself. It is when you no longer need to force reality to follow an ego script. It is when you no longer need to check, control, steer, or edit reality, because you trust that what belongs to you arrives without effort, and what does not only brings pain when held. A vivid illustration is the healing journey of 𝗪𝗵𝗲. When she began a new relationship, everything felt harmonious at first, but gradually, with each time her partner became silent, 𝗪𝗵𝗲 started analyzing every punctuation, every pause, and every word choice. She did not blame or show it outwardly, yet inside, she was silently squeezing herself and her partner with expectations and worry. Inevitably, the energy between them began to withdraw. When she asked why, her partner could only say something felt heavy without any clear cause. 𝗪𝗵𝗲 realized it was not that her partner was wrong, but that she still operated from a place of control, disguised as wanting to understand. Jung did not teach letting go as a mere technique, but as a process of inner maturity. He taught that surrender is not weakness, but it is the courage to stop waging war against yourself. It is when you no longer need certainty to feel safe, need another's reaction to feel loved, and no longer need control to protect yourself from abandonment. If you live in the energy of clinging to avoid loss, remember that control does not keep you safe. It only keeps you away from real living. Sometimes the most essential step is not knowing the next move, but daring to stand still and do nothing to feel what you still cling to out of fear rather than love. You may have seen yourself controlling under the guise of seeking reassurance that you are not alone. Now you have another choice. Share the phrase, "I am letting go," if you choose to step out of control energy and into a magnetic state where life comes without being pulled only by trust. Number 6. The power of presence. But surrender does not mean you disappear. Not controlling does not mean you become passive. This brings us to a dimension few truly understand, what Carl Jung called the true center of spiritual life, the power of presence. If control is action born of fear, Presence is a holistic being not arising from doing, but from an inner state of grounded calm that demands nothing